Welcome, Divine. Welcome. Thank you guys for all the feedback on the introduction to Transmutation of Pain. Game changer, right? Anybody else who wants it, it is down below. It is down below, and it also has the free preview to check it out. And just even listening to the free preview is enough, right? But nah, part 2 is the it. It's the it. It's how you eradicate it. Let's get into the karmic cycle that's happening in the world right now. And you'll notice that it is actually similar to what the twins have going on here, okay? Which means that the karmic cycle, anybody can be in it, but it's how you deal with it that determines who's who. So we start out with the 10 of Wands. And it's like, whoa, what's happening with the 10 of Wands here? And that is that false seeming and that oppression. You know, so it's that false seeming and oppression. So I clarify with the John Holland. So in clarifying with the John Holland, it comes out with a positive move forward and that foundational family for rainbow kitten caboodle. So that is what's starting out in the intro with the karmic cycle world. So it is oppression and the false seeming of that positive moving forward and that foundational place of having it all. So that is the kickoff as to where the karmic world is right now. Seeing how this stuff is all connected, right? The flow with it. Then we go to the Queen of Wands in reverse. So this is what sets things apart. So it's like, why would the Rider-Waite give us the Queen of Wands in reverse right after that there's a recognition of the false seeming and the disguise of what means so much? Because the Queen of Wands in reverse comes into that that opposition. It is that jealousy. It is that deceit. It is that infidelity. It is that double-sidedness. So it's like, well, why is this that jealousy? Why is that turning on, you know, cheating another? What is going on here? So this is what lets you know what happens whenever there is the divide between who is who. It's how it's dealt with. So that comes in the Queen of Wands in reverse. The reason why it's very clear here is because the clarification comes in the prosperity begins, the number 1, which is the beginning. So in the beginning and the witnessing of the beginning of others, it automatically sends within the karmic world that jealousy. And that jealousy starts to pull in that opposition. So those of you who are witnessing those around you who have gotten stuck into the karmic world, instead of recognizing that they are in an oppression point and that there's many falsehoods within their foundational plane, what happens within the karmic world is that their next motion is that they shift into that jealousy and that deceit, or even kind of will go into that infidelity position of discovering something else, you know, instead of dealing with what I have going on right now. So that kind of happens a lot in the karmic cycle world. And the deceit comes in pretty heavy, which is all of these things in which I do not want it to be known, in which I really have going on. So it's like, let's do this so this can seem okay. That was in the first motion is what we have going on right now in the karmic world. So there's a recognition of what is going well and what isn't, but there is not an ownership and a truth in dealing with it. The reason we know that is because we go next to the Chariot, and in the Chariot position that brings us into that vengeance and that trouble. So it's like, well, dang, okay. So the karmic world recognizes that their stuff is not what they desire it to be, and that they're kind of oppressed in what they have created. And instead of dealing with it, they're kind of turning and doing something on you know, they're having that jealousy, and they're doing these things to kind of cover it up and make it seem like they're okay, doing these alter falsehood worlds. And then the karmic world goes into the point of vengeance and trouble. And it's like, vengeance and trouble. Like, what do you mean? And then the clarifier comes in with truth. So it's like, why would the clarifier come in with truth? But then it's also that truth card, but it comes in with that kind of, you can actually see that this person is kind of in that magician type way. But in this card of vengeance and trouble, it's almost like they're cooking up something for another person. So this is that stage in which you will recognize with people in which projection starts to happen. Which means that I am in this position of feeling oppressed. And I'm in this position of feeling jealous. And I'm in this position of, you know, things not working out for me. And then this is the point of whenever there is that projection of, okay, I feel this, I want you to feel something, or you're the cause of it, you know. This is what's happening, and I'm going to put it off on somebody else. And this is a lot of times, well, a lot of you kind of recognize that turning away from you from kind of family and friends and situations of things of like that you'll get randomly attacked. Many of you guys have felt the acknowledgement. I see even kind of this churning and kind of where they are in what would be in a magician flow and trying to make something happen, which is that manipulation of the truth. Manipulation of the truth is what this card is about. So people start to manipulate the truth. This is also what many of you have also mentioned, like that dark energy, that black magic, those things of that sort. Whenever someone who's stuck in a karmic cycle gets to this point, they want to manipulate the truth, which is that I recognize there are some falsehoods, but instead of dealing with it, I shift into jealousy of those who are beginning that prosperity, of those new beginnings and walking in their truth. But instead of sitting in mine, I get into that vengeance and that trouble area, and then I want to manipulate it. I want to manipulate the truth. Which is, that's when a lot of you have recognized that attacks will come from people, and recognizing it's because of where they are and where you are. Where they are and where you are. And then what goes in next is that 5 of Wands, which is that sham fight and that competition. And it's like, what? And then the clarification of that John Holland is that harmony. So that means that those within are in that harmony, there is that fight against those who seem to be in harmony. So any of you guys who are out there right now, understand that this is what is happening. So you'll recognize that the divine right now, many of truths of things are coming up for them, and they're dealing with it. They're dealing with it within. But those who are stuck within the karmic world, we hit it. There's the music. They deal with these things outside first, which is why you began to start experiencing those betrayals and those what seem to be attacks from other people who are around you. So understand, this is when they are being dealt with, and they're recognizing some truths, and they're seeing how you deal with things. And they have yet been able to get to the place of facing that. And there's a lot of jealous energy that will actually start to surface. And during that time period, there's a lot of manipulation of the truth. So you can be lied on. You know, that's common during this time period. You can be lied on, or you say something and somebody hears it some way, or people began to do stuff. What is that? I say kind of like the kitchen witch, you know, in a way where I'm going to cook up and do this to so-and-so. You know, I don't know what will make you wake up and have those types of thoughts and focus that energy of yours on another person in that way. I never waste my energy on another. But, you know, that's the difference between the divine and those who are stuck in the karmic cycle. They're actually already low, and then they go lower. They go lower, and they take the energy that they have, and then they begin to... They want to project the negative off on the other person, but then they begin to live in that energy of that focus on the divine. And, you know, once you become a divine being in that full clarity and knowledge, you know, you can utilize that energy source. Because if someone is willing to put that focused attention on you in that negative way, this is where the word of no weapon formed against you can prosper. Because once you get into that space and you recognize, oh, so you want to give me even the energy that you have left in your low? You want to focus it on me? Well, I'll use it. And I know how to pray for you, for me. I know how to set an intent for my enemies who are unable to do so. And I know how to use it well in the promotion of self. And this is why many who come against and get stuck in this karmic cycle in this way really do. You know, you'll hear, when you hear that word, it really is. They really do become your footstool. They really elevate. They actually support you in the process. They focus their energy on you. And if you focus your energy on you versus them, guess who's going up? And thanks for the extra lift. So this is what's happening in the karmic cycle world right now. But understanding how to move in this area. And if you have some stuff, I'm telling you, that internal stuff, like I posted in the community board about removing those remotes, because this is the time you want to remove it. Because whenever these projections and this ammunition starts coming out, it needs not have an energetic place in you to land, to where you go into that victimized position, because that is what they're looking for. But if you have cleared your vessel and you know what you have going on and you have worked within your self-mastery, then whatever comes, it doesn't have an energetic match there, and then you can take it and transmute that energy into whatever you want. This is why you see that many on high standings in the world deal with many lower level attacks. You can actually watch them. Go on someone that you like who is on an attainment higher level in the world and look in their comment section. There are people feeding them their energy. Just random strangers who are giving them their energy. So you can really fly really high with enemies. It really all does work out for your good. It's just about knowing who you are and how to handle it. But if you have some of that internal stuff, I tell you, when somebody sends it, they have that remote to you and they'll take you down. Not because of what they have going on, but they were able to take what they were sending you, and it's an energetic vibrational match to what's in you. So that is why it's important to deal with your stuff. Check out Transmutation of Pain. If you don't, the people in the world will give you some pain to match. Understand? And this is the time that a lot of that happens. But recognizing what's what, who's who, how to deal, and why it's being delivered, and how to handle it, puts you ahead of the game. Puts you ahead of the game. I think I'm going to do a video right after this. And I'm going to discuss many of those things, that negative energy, those dark forces, those family and friends that turn on you and attack you, that black magic. I'm going to put that out there so you can really know what that's about and how it all is supposed to be working for you, not against you. Yeah. So wonderful. And it's interesting because on the bottom of the deck, we end with the 9 of Swords. And you already know that is that despair position, hand over head, deeply hurt, crying in pain. Because that is generally what happens at the end of this karmic cycle, which is much energy is put into the focus of making someone else's life miserable because of the pain that they've recognized and what it is that they have developed in their lives, those stuck in the karmic cycle. And then they go out and they project it all. And then there is this quarrelsome attack between other people and to try to disrupt their harmony because they did not get what they want. And then it still lands in that point of despair. You know this cycle because you've done this cycle on some level. Yes, people do cycles on different levels. When you have a heightened level of being stuck in karmic cycle world, then you are on a heightened level of doing this stuff to people. But on some level that any divine being knows this karmic cycle. Where stuff goes wrong, you realize it's not right. And some level you're projecting it out. Even if it's just, flipping on somebody for the moment, And sometimes that goes down. But it is getting to that place of going within and understanding that there is power. There is power to transform your situation, not to just have that jealousy and vengeance towards those around you who are in that position, that you too can have it. But instead being stuck in that karmic cycle, and then after those fights, it does leave right in the bed, hands over face, deep cry in despair, meaning that not only are these things going wrong in my life, but now I have created conflict with the people in my life, and not only that, they seem to rise. And that is generally what happens in this motion, which is why it's not a place into necessarily fear. Have no fear. And it's also a place that puts the divine in a good position. If you know who you are, how to handle it, and you've dealt with your stuff. If you haven't dealt with your stuff, whenever the karmic world goes on a spree like this and they come after you, whew, spiritual war. They can hit you with a word. They can hit you with an action. They can hit you with stuff, and they sitting in their house. They don't even know you, and they haven't even seen you. But you have it in your mind that they have this type of power, and guess what? You just made agreement. And you don't have to. You can utilize that energy and do what you want to do with it, because nobody has more power over your vessel than you. But if you lay down that power, don't believe you have it, or allow someone use of it, I ain't gonna lie, stuff does go down. The golden mission. The golden mission is union. Union within self, then union with others.